Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another podcast of the Black Dog Confessional. I am here with Redbird, like usual.
Hello, Stephen.
Hello, Christopher.
How are you?
I am well. But more important than Christopher, we have Bryan Bobbitt here with us today. For those of you who do not know who Bryan Bobbitt is, he's about to explain to you who he is. Go ahead, Bryan. Hit us up, man.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. My name is Bryan. I'm the Deputy Executive Director of Keep Brevard Beautiful.
Excellent. And what else? Tell me about your 4 under 40 thing you got going on right now.
Right now I am one of the top 12 finalists for the 4 under 40 with Lee Brevard. Very excited about that, and they're going to have the big leadership awards on February 8th. So really excited for all that.
Excellent. And you were recently appointed to an environmental board, correct?
Yes. I was appointed vice chair of the Titusville Environmental Board, and really looking forward to doing some good things up there.
Awesome. You know, I'm big with the environmental aspect of it. I'm very big on anti-littering. So one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you here today was not only talk about, what you've been doing in the community, but also talk about what we can do in our community. Mm-hmm. You working with Keep Brevard Beautiful. You and I went to Lead Brevard together. That's where I met Bryan. And best class ever.
Class of 17.
And, during that process, we learned a lot about networking and working with each other. And so when we started doing this podcast, I definitely wanted to get you in here to discuss just the little things that we can do as a community to make it better. Obviously, we have the Indian River Lagoon and the issues that go along with that. What are some tips you can give our statistics or whatever you got that, you could push out there that will get us as a community to start working together?
Well, one of the big things is get involved with Keep Brevard Beautiful itself. We have several programs that we have that are countywide. One of them is called Lagoon Friendly Lawn, and there's no cost to it. What we do is we go out and we encourage homeowners to certify their lawns. To certify, you just stop using fertilizer. And if you are going to use fertilizer, use organic forms of it. Police your lawn clippings. Use native landscaping. And all these processes go to help benefit the Indian River Lagoon. A lot of people don't know that when you mow your lawn, sometimes the grass clippings come out into the street. It rains, it ends up in the gutter, and eventually ends up in the lagoon. And then it contributes to a lot of the issues that we're having, especially if you have a lot of fertilizers on it. That helps, with all the algae blooms.
And I don't think there's a lot of people that realize we have a fertilizer ordinance in this county.
We do, and the only thing that's really bad about it is you can still just go to the store and buy it. So it's really, knowing about it and knowing better than to use it during the rainy months.
Can you explain what the fertilizer ordinance is?
Well, during certain times of the year, usually when, it's the rainy season here in Florida, is a ban. You're not supposed to put any fertilizer on your lawns at all. And it goes because it rains, all that stuff, especially if you just freshly applied it to your lawns, ends up going right down the gutters and into the lagoon. And those fertilizers help the algae blooms really take off, and that's where we start having problems in the river.
Gotcha, and that's where we get our fish kills. And we recently had a fish kill not too long ago.
Yes.
Which was a huge issue.
Yes, that was a bad one. That wasn't for the Indian River Lagoon, though. That was actually on the beach. It was contributed by the red tide, gotcha. And it was October 19th we first started seeing fish wash up right there in Lori Wilson Park in Cocoa Beach. Keep Brevard Beautiful reached out to our volunteers. We had some staff go out there, and we started picking it up. The next morning, it was like it was never there because the tide had pulled it back out. We thought we might have dodged a bullet. A few days later, it started showing up further south, down by Melbourne Beach in that area, and then we got walloped. I mean, it just really hit. And we called out the volunteers. We partnered with Brevard County, the Sheriff's Office, a lot of the municipalities, the TDC, and we ended up removing 100,000 pounds of dead, rotting, stinking fish in just about a week.
Yeah, I know, and that's definitely a terrible job to be doing out there. Like you mentioned, obviously, Chris and I were both law enforcement. Sheriff Ivy had the chain gang out there. I saw them picking up a bunch of stuff, which is great. I mean, that's what a great use for the services, for what Sheriff Ivy's been pushing out there. With a couple of stats that I had pulled up was one of the things that shocked me was there's 9 billion tons of trash dumped into the ocean each year worldwide.
Oh, yeah.
And you think about that and what that's doing. And then I started looking further into it. And one of the big things I think taxpayers would be interested to know is $11 billion a year is spent annually working to deal with litter problems across the United States. $11 billion. That's a lot of money that we, the community, could be dealing with that wouldn't cost anybody any money. You know, it wouldn't cost the government any money if we would just get out there and pick it up, stop littering. I read that 50% of all litter was cigarette butts.
That's true. That is one of the number one things that we find out there, and that and Capri Sun straws. Those are the major things that we always find out there, and then it kind of digresses down to fast food containers, dirty diapers, everything like that.
Yeah, I saw that I think it was 1/3 of all the trash was fast food debris.
Yes.
Which is insane. You know, that's people just being lazy. You know, that's people just not wanting to walk the 5 feet to a garbage can or to recycle or to, you know, the Capri straw thing. I mean, Chris and I both have kids. You have a small kid.
Yeah, I think anybody who's throwing garbage out is just being lazy, whether it's fast food or anything. I mean,
absolutely. And most of the time, like Steve said, I mean, there's a trash can within sight. It's just a matter of just taking the few extra steps to make the difference.
Right.
So
when you're doing Keeper of Our Beautiful, you operate with a lot of volunteers.
We do. We have thousands of volunteers throughout the community, and we couldn't do what we do without them.
Yeah, and can you branch out on that a little bit? How essential are the volunteers?
They are absolutely vital to our operation. Whenever we do like our large-scale cleanups, we have several throughout the year. We have Trash Bash, the International Coastal Cleanup. We have the Summer Series. All of those events are volunteer-based. And when we had the fish kills back in 16 and this past year in 18, I mean, they came out by the hundreds. We had volunteers that were hooking up boats for the one back in 2016 when it was in the river. We needed boats. And we had a fleet of volunteers come out with their boats, spending their own gas money. People were trailering their boats down from other counties to come help us clean up because they fish these waters.
Yeah, and you know, noticing you brought up the fact about fish in the waters. We have fisheries here. They obviously care about the Indian River Lagoon. They obviously care about the ocean. You brought up that they'll show up out there. Different fishermen will show up and help clean up.
Yes.
And that's essential. You know, I mean. I'm going to bring this up because I know Chris is going to cry a little bit, but
I mean, I would help if I had a boat.
Yeah, that's what I was going to go. Chris would help if he had a boat, and you know, look, hear that? Did you hear that, Nora?
You need to tell your wife that it's for the better of the community that you get a boat.
We're trying to tip the scales here. We're trying to tip the scales. Environmentalism. You know,
right?
Well, babe, I bought it for the river.
Exactly. It's for family time and for environmental reasons.
Exactly.
You know?
We would clean up.
Yeah, we. So, one of the things you brought up with the Capri Straw Sons, obviously most of the time that's parents taking their kids to the beach, and you know, then as they're cleaning up, the straws come apart. What kind of damage can straws do?
Those are very bad because they're very lightweight, they're dense, they can end up in the ocean, and we've all heard about the sea turtles, how they eat stuff, and there's a video that's going around of a straw, not a Capri Sun one, but just a straw being pulled out of a nose of a sea turtle.
Yeah.
And it went viral, and
that's horrific to watch. Like when they're pulling that thing out, and you hear that turtle squealing, and you're like, "Oh man!" I mean, it is a full straw that comes out of this turtle's nostril.
Yeah.
So with that, how much have you seen change? Obviously, you've been with Keeper of Our Beautiful a little while now. How much has the community progressed as far as, you know, preventing and, you know, talking about it? And I mean, I see you doing things all the time to try and get the word out. What is the continued motivation for the community? How do you push that?
Well, the big thing is now there's a little bit of an awareness. You know, about 6 months ago, everyone went very anti-straw, and you know, California even went as far as to ban them. That was what was kind of a tipping point for Brevard County. Is everyone's like, well, what do we need to do, and how are we going to do it? And the big thing is a lot of people are becoming more aware. We go to restaurants and we ask them for another program that we do called Litter Quitter to reduce their single-use plastics. And one of the first steps is when you go to a restaurant and you have a waitress drop 3 or 4 straws on your table and then walk away, just stop doing that. And, you know, make someone ask for a straw first. You know, because a lot of people, they don't even need them. And if you are going to have straws, use paper straws, or they even have these new ones that are called pasta straws. But I end up eating them before I finish my drink. So it's,
I say you can do the same thing with Twizzlers.
Yeah,
Twizzlers, you can do the same thing. I'm a big Twizzler straw person. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, I've noticed that a lot of restaurants on Beachside have gone to the way of, well, ask for a straw if you'd like a straw, and they've been pretty good about broadcasting it. You know, so that when people get there, they're like, "What? No straw? Hey, you know, it's all over our Facebook, it's all over our social media. The reason why is this: we have straws for you if that's what makes you feel more comfortable. We'll give you a straw." And now there's lots of companies that are making those reusable straws, the ones that fold up, you put on your keychain, and you can just take with you wherever you got to go. So, I mean, as we're developing, you said you brought up the aspect of people having the knowledge now.
Exactly.
And I'll tell you, I've never been one for people who throw cigarette butts out their window. It drives me nuts. But when I saw $11 billion are being spent a year to combat littering and deal with the littering problem, I'm like, that is a ton of money that we are just throwing away. I mean, we're littering money.
Yeah. Well, there's another aspect to that money too. Is that's $11 billion that's being used to clean up the trash, but that's not forecasting the effect it has on local tourism. If you have a family that's going to come out to go to Cocoa Beach or to Daytona or wherever, if the place is trash, they're not going to come back. And when you have the Tourism Development Council that's going out doing an amazing job broadcasting Brevard as Orlando's beaches, you have on a beautiful day thousands of beachgoers coming. If it's littered, they're not going to come back, and that's going to affect local restaurants, local businesses, stores, shops, everything. So it goes way beyond the $11 billion.
Absolutely, the sustainability for businesses in our community is essential. Obviously, if we want our community to develop, our community to grow, our community to sustain, then we have to keep these businesses here. We've talked about it before with the O'Galley Art District and everything they've done down the O'Galley Art District to clean it up, to renovate the parks, and because right there you have a county library, you have the civic center, you have all sorts of avenues you can utilize right there. If that it's right on the river. So, I mean, it's a great place to take your family. There's a beautiful dock out there that had just been replaced after one of the hurricanes for fishing and everything else that goes along with our weather, we were fortunate enough that, what is it right now? How cold do you think it is outside, Chris? I know you were a little chilly.
Freezing. It's almost snowing.
It's almost snowing, according to Chris outside.
It's ridiculous.
I'm currently in shorts. Yeah, nor'easter. But I mean, think about all the people that are looking at negative degree weathers up north with this front coming through, and here we're talking about our weather conditions in shorts and a t-shirt. We have the ability to have year-round beaches and year-round river stuff, and if that starts to fall apart, we start losing money, dollar after dollar after dollar. If the businesses can't sustain here, where do they go? Somewhere else. And that just hurts the entire community. We saw what happened when the original space shuttle program got shut down and people left, and how much that affected the community and how much it affected businesses. If we continue to destroy our rivers and our ocean, we're going to see the same effect happen.
Absolutely. And that's where we need to get out there, and because it's not just a government thing, it's not just an agency thing, it is a community. We need everyone's help to participate. Police your litter, police your lawn clippings. Get restaurants to start doing the right thing by using more sustainable practices, getting rid of the straws, and even getting rid of styrofoam. Make that to where there's a lot of restaurants that are converting over to paper to go products and everything else like that. Something that's more biodegradable if it is littered. Styrofoam doesn't go away. So, that's just one step. So then you get the community to get out there and start cleaning up, doing other activities, and then it builds. The awareness builds, and then hopefully, we'll find the solution.
Now, you have a very long county to deal with.
Yes,
I mean, this is a
miles.
very long county. Do you have different coordinators for different areas, like say Melbourne Beach versus like the Titusville area, or do you just handle it all yourself and then kind of?
Well, Keep Brevard Beautiful's main office is based in Cocoa, and we do oversee all county. However, we do have the help from all of we have 3 different action teams. We call them chapters, action teams, and they're led by volunteers, strictly by volunteers. So when we have large cleanups like we did this past Saturday, we had a lot of members from the Central Action Team come out, and we cleaned up 528. We filled up a dump truck. Same with when we're going down south. We did a big cleanup down at the compound. They help us get the word out. And the South Action Team this year is actually hosting a secret garden tour in the south area of the county. So we have their support.
You talked about the compound cleanup.
Yes.
How bad was that?
I've been with Keep Brevard Beautiful. This is my 6th year, and this was the worst area I've ever seen as far as litter and what we collected. You could build an entire house out of the things. There was couches, hot tubs, just construction debris. There was a nice recliner I was really looking at for a minute. I mean, I was sitting there thinking I could put that in the back of the truck, but then my wife was with me. She said no. So,
well, when we get back from break, I want to touch a little bit on reduce, reuse, recycle.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Make sure you check out Space Cowboy Justice with your hosts, Blake Stewart and Paul Daly. We're going to be talking about interesting legal issues in the entertainment industry and everything geek. If you're into Star Wars, Star Trek, Lord of the Rings, comic books, we're talking about it. Coming at you from the Space Coast Podcast Studios.
Jesse, have you ever wondered what is the best way to interview applicants for your open position so you have the best chance of hiring a keeper?
All the time.
Well, I talk to managers every day, Jesse, that use their gut instinct to make a hire. Sometimes that works out, but more times than not, it can lead to a bad hire. Replacing a poor hire can be expensive and hurt morale. One of our most popular service offerings at HR Office Savers is teaching employers how to be better interviewers. Improved interviewing techniques lead to better hiring, which leads to better employee retention, which leads to less turnover and more profit. Contact me today to find out how you can learn to be a better interviewer. I can be reached online at www.hrofficesavers.com or by phone 928-308-4506. Again, that's 928-308-4506. 928-308-4506.
I waited till the finger dropped, Chris.
You're doing better.
I'm
You're
doing
learning.
better. The
You're
finger,
learning.
Jesse's finger dropped, and now I'm allowed to bring us back. So, like I said, we are here with Bryan Bobbitt, who works with Keep Brevard Beautiful. I wanted to talk about reduce, reuse, recycle, mainly because Chris is drinking out of a plastic bottle, and I'm drinking out of a can right now.
For sure.
So, but I am drinking Yoo-Hoo, people, and that's kind of pretty epic.
And I'm going to go put more water in this. And then when I'm done, I'm going to use it as a spittoon.
Ooh.
So
Hey,
that's a lot of reusing.
That is a lot of disgusting reusing, yes.
Hey.
All right, then. So, reduce, reuse, recycle. I recycle. We'll recycle all this when we leave here today. How much does that benefit the community?
Oh, it benefits quite a bit. Our landfill has a lifespan on it. They can only put so much garbage in a spot, and they've started construction. I believe they've already started working on the new landfill, which is the same location, just right next to the other one.
You're talking about the one in Melbourne or the Cocoa?
The Cocoa one.
Okay.
And I don't know if they've capped off the one that we've been using for years, but I know it's coming here in the very, very near future.
It's grown over the last 10 years. I mean, it looks like a mountain now when you're coming back.
Yeah, it's Brevard County's mountain.
Yeah, you come north on 95 or west or east on 528, and all of a sudden this mountain of trash just emerges.
Yeah, exactly. So, but they've already started working on a new one. So the whole thought process is, instead of throwing everything away, recycle it, to where it can and be reused for something else. But the other thing that is part of the 3 R's is reduce. If you just find a way that you're not throwing so much trash away, you're reusing stuff in your home, trying Tupperware containers, butter containers. I mean, they don't. Everyone goes to their grandma. They had that giant buttered container that was worked as Tupperware. Finding practices like that.
That's me, Jesse. That's me.
We use the plastic to go from Chinese restaurants.
Oh, I love
Chinese
those.
takeout.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can fit
So
a
we have a
sandwich,
stack
everything you
of
need.
them.
Yeah.
Absolutely, and you can look inside to see if it still looks okay to eat. Before
Yeah.
okay,
This is kind of furry.
Yeah, no, those are great. It is funny because I do remember my dad would hand me here, take your pasta home for the day, and I'd be in a butter container, and I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
And you open it up and you're like, oh, it's kind of weird, or you forget about it being in the refrigerator, and you go, oh, I need the butter, and you're like, oh, that's pasta that's been there for several months.
Yeah, when the liquid actually becomes a solid again. So,
Yeah. On the break we brought up different corporations like Yeti and what's the other one?
Arctic.
Mm-hmm. That we have reusable cups now that a lot of people have. I mean, you can't go to a college campus without seeing every person walk around with some form of reusable cup.
Mm-hmm.
How much has that helped? Have you noticed any change?
Quite a bit. I mean, that right there is a perfect example of reusing or reducing. Everyone has those cups. That's a great start. Think about each person that's probably about 2 or 3 water bottles or cans of soda a day that's not going into a landfill from people just having Yetis. And they're functional. They do keep your drink cold. So,
unless you're one of those people who take the water out of the bottle, pour it into your Yeti because you're so fancy, and then you throw the bottle away.
Me? No.
No. I'm just saying there are people out there that do that.
Yeah, they do. You have to. I need my Fiji water. One of the interesting things this year, obviously Chris knows I'm a big hockey fan, but the All-Star jerseys this year, All-Star games next weekend, they actually use fibers created from recycled bottles to make the jerseys this year. It's the first time that's ever been done in hockey, and it was a huge thing. That teams are actually starting to participate in doing things like this. Adidas actually created those jerseys, and I thought it was pretty awesome. With the recycling aspect of it, how much recycling happens in this county? Is there a lot?
There is a tons, excuse the pun, but there are tons of recycling. Brevard County works very hard. Now, one of the things about recycling is you have to do it right. One of the big issues that we have in Brevard County is contamination. So, you have a street of people that are all doing it right. They're rinsing out their containers. They're putting everything in their bins. And then you have someone that's about 4 houses down that forgot to rinse all the tomato juice out of a jar. They recycle it. It ends up in the truck. It breaks. It contaminates a lot of the recyclables that were any good. China is only accepting stuff that's like top-notch quality recyclable. So a lot of the stuff that gets contaminated, even though it's being shipped out there, it's not getting accepted. So it's no good, and there's a cost to it.
So question on that. You mentioned like residue being left in bottles. You suggest rinsing everything before you do it?
Absolutely, yeah. Rinse all of your recyclables. And the other thing is like pizza boxes. Everyone always, there's no such thing as a clean pizza box. There's always got grease and cheese and all that stuff. That makes it no good. And if cardboard gets wet, even if it dries back up, it's still no good. So it's not only just recycling, but recycling properly.
Yeah, we didn't know about that. And then last year I saw on the news like the printing that they put on the pizza boxes causes it also not to be recyclable.
I'm not sure about the printing, but I know just with grease alone, it just there's no such thing as a clean pizza box. But Brevard County Solid Waste Department, they've created a new website. We've helped out with it a little bit, and it has everything that you would need to know about how to properly recycle, and it's also designated by room. So what in your bathroom is recyclable? What in your bedroom? Cool. It makes it more understandable, and it's kid friendly, so you can look at it. And if you ever have a question, you can just pull it up on your phone. Like, can I recycle this? Oh, wait, yeah, I can, or no, I can't. But we were at 28% contamination rates in like October, November for the county.
Wow.
Acceptable is around 15%, and I know it's gotten below that in the past couple of months because of all the efforts that the Solid Waste Department in partnership with Eels and Keep Brevard Beautiful, they've really kind of push some education out there. So we're really happy that the levels are acceptable now.
Now you brought up go ahead, Chris.
Do you think it's gotten better since people have gone to the single stream where you just dump everything in one container, or was it better?
I think so, yes. Yeah.
I think I agree. I just think it's easier for people instead of carrying down your papers, your plastic, your aluminum in 3 different bins and having to carry it. Now you just throw it all in one trash can and just roll it down to the end.
Exactly. And it's all about convenience. But the thing
I think you're right. I think that's what stops people. They can go, well, this can go in the trash here, or I can go wash it out and then put it in the recycling. A lot of people are, again, we were talking about littering, lazy. They're just going to chuck it in the trash can.
Exactly.
You brought up partnerships. How essential is partnerships?
They are vital. Just as much as the volunteers, we can't do it without the support of our partners. We partner with Brevard County, Ron Johns, Carroll Distributing, the Sheriff's Office. I mean, I could go on and on with all the partners that we have. And it's just everyone has their own little piece to the puzzle that we all move forward with, and eventually we'll have it complete in a good, clean county.
Yeah, no, I know you operate a lot with volunteers and how essential those are. We have quasi volunteers with Sheriff Ivey's chain gang.
Yeah.
But what they've done as far as cleaning up the roadways, being able to help with the fish kills, that's another community oriented program that Sheriff Ivey's put into effect that has really benefited.
And we love it. I mean, it takes some of the pressure off of us when it comes to some of the roadways, and they're vital because they're doing some of the state roads. And then when people come in to mow, hopefully there's a lot less stuff that gets chopped up by the mowers.
Yeah, and that's a big thing. I mean, the edges of the road, when you see all the debris that flies out of the back of people's work trucks, and then it gets hit by those mowers, and it looks like you ran over a newspaper. It's just blasted everywhere. And the overall benefit to utilizing those partnerships is it allows you to network more, gets you more supporters, gets your word out there. Keeper of Our Beautiful was something that I knew about, but I didn't know about it until we went to lead together, and I started getting to know more about you and what you had going on. I don't think people understand how essential your role, Tony Sasso's role, what you guys have been doing over the last several years, what your volunteers have been doing, what your personnel has been doing, is to this county, as far as maintaining it, keeping it prosperous, keeping it beautiful to where people want to move here. I mean, with everything that's been developing west of 95, the more people that are coming to town, bringing in different organizations out at the port and the Space Center, all of that factors into more work essentially for you, unless we help by not doing the stupid things like throwing our McDonald's bag out the window.
Absolutely.
It drives me nuts. I can't tell you how many times I've seen you get to a red light and somebody opens their car door and just drops that bag and then keeps driving. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't keep it in your car for 5 seconds longer, or you go into a parking lot and there's 7 dirty diapers laying around, and you're like, you couldn't walk 5 feet to that garbage can over there and throw it out?
Yeah, well, I know you've probably seen my company truck. It's wrapped KBB all over. It's all over the county. A lot of people see it. But I was going down 95 one day, and this guy had thrown out a garbage or like a Burger King bag or something, and it bounced off my windshield. I'm sitting there like, really? It's just, people just, there's certain people that have that old mindset that, it's okay to just throw something off the road. And Keep America Beautiful, who we're an affiliate of, has really tried to push behavioral change to where we educate the community. We identify the problems, and we try to find the sources that we can get the word out to everyone and change the way everyone looks at litter.
Yeah, no, and you talk about behavioral change. There's a leadership teacher that I follow on social media, and one of his things, we always talked about random acts of kindness. That the moment where you're like, oh, I think I'm gonna buy coffee for that guy behind me, whatever. That's a random act of kindness. He says get away from that and getting to purposeful acts of kindness. It's a behavioral change, because if you continually open that door for that person to walk in rather than shut it in their face, that becomes a behavior change. And littering is the same way. If you get to the point where you used to always throw your cigarette butt out the window, and now you're like, maybe I'll just put it in this can or whatever, or you know what? If you want to stick a nail in your coffin, switch to vaping. I don't care. At least you're not throwing a cigarette butt out the window.
I was going to say, I wonder if the cigarette butts have gone down now that people have
they're
switched
still
to vaping.
out there.
Still.
I mean, we see quite a bit, and the thing is they just don't biodegrade. They're always around, and we find cigarette butts that look like my dad smoked this when I was like 5, and it's still out there. So it's out there in the beach, and you get someone that they're out on the beach for about 4 or 5 hours with their family. Probably about a cigarette an hour from each individual smoker. Now, a lot of people do put them in they take them away. A lot of people sit there and just make a little pile of cigarette butts and then forget them when they go, and
or purposely cover them up with sand because they're
put a
too
little
lazy.
dirt on
Right?
it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nobody sees it.
Question on that: wasn't there's something coming up about trying to ban smoking on beaches?
Yes. There's an ordinance that's getting pushed right now. We don't really have too much to do with that one, just because we're not political. We kind of stay out of all that. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with it.
Okay, we'll be right back after this next commercial break.
Are you ready to explore the world? Travel to exotic locations and live your best life with Anytime Travel Solutions. Anytime Travel Solutions are your worldwide, unbiased concierge with access to real inventory of hotels, cruises, railroads, tours, and all of the best excursions. Anytime Travel Solutions realizes how fun it is to plan your own vacations, so we have the option to search vacations and book safely on our website, or you can visit us in our conveniently located offices in downtown Melbourne, Florida. Did you know travel is proven to benefit your health, both physically and mentally? We have 3 decades serving travelers and making dreams come true. So ask yourself, if not now, when? Call Ceci today to begin your adventure. Dial 321-779-4285 or visit anytimebookings.com. That's anytimebookings.com.
All right, in the studio, breaking news. This guy literally just broke down the door. He's got incredible news. His name is John Adams with the Fix Therapy. John, what's so important? What's going on?
Well, we've got some exciting stuff to talk about.
Well, tell me, what do you have to share?
Well, I've got a brand new podcast coming to you called The Live Life Aware, where we're going to be discussing all kinds of fun topics like biohacking.
Whoa.
Yes. We're going to be talking about integrated medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to be talking about some really new hot topics in Florida with medical marijuana and CBD.
I see. Well, that sounds exciting. So what else can the listener expect?
Well, fun facts of the body. Did you know that one red blood cell carries 1 billion oxygen molecules?
That's a lot. I had no idea.
Yeah, so if you looked up into the night sky,
right,
you could take every little star and put them on one red blood cell.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible. So all kinds of trivia, surprise guests, and things that you're not going to hear about just hanging out in your family practitioner's doctor's office.
Absolutely. We're going to be talking about all the stuff you're not listening or hearing from maybe your general practitioner.
Amazing. All right. Thanks so much, John. Live Life Aware, guys, coming soon from the Space Coast Podcast Studios.
You're listening to the Space Coast Podcast Network. If you'd like to be featured as a guest or sponsor or even host your own show, please email us at spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. That is spacecoastpodcast@hotmail.com. Space Coast Podcast. Talk hard.
And we are back. Once again, this is Steve Fernandez with Redbird and my buddy Bryan Bobbitt. Like I said, Bryan Bobbitt works with Keep Brevard Beautiful. He also does a lot of other big things in this community. Like I said, he went to Lead Brevard with me, which is a great program for networking.
It is.
And that's where we kind of met, and a lot of other awesome people that we got to meet. And that's where our relationship started. And, like I said, he's taught me a lot. A good thing about social media is Bryan's always posting things. I always see when the next event's coming. When you did the compound cleanup, you mentioned that there was tons and tons of stuff out there. People, quit driving out to places and dumping your crap. No, quit driving out there. There's a place in Titusville right now that drives me crazy because every time I go out there, there's now been 2 boats dumped out there. They've ripped all the numbers off. There's all sorts of crap. There sheets of glass that were shattered out there on the end of the road. I mean, this is all just unnecessary. Take it to the garbage and dump it. Drive it over there. If you're driving it to a place to dump it, drive it to the garbage dump.
Well, I think it's like Bryan was talking about before. It's changing people's habits. I mean, the compound's been around for 30 years, and people have always gone out there and I'm just going to dump it out here.
Yeah.
I got my stuff. I could drive all the way to the dump, but maybe the dump's not going to take it today. Maybe it's something the dump doesn't take.
Or there's a tipping charge or something like that that people try to avoid.
But you go out there and you go to enjoy the compound. Most of these people that are dumping out there go out there,
Right.
Because if I were to ask Jesse, you know what a compound is?
Oh, yeah.
Jesse knows what the compound is. Yep. Jesse goes out there to shoot. But, a lot of people go out there to enjoy what the compound is. A lot of people go out to the river to enjoy the river. A lot of people go out to the beach to enjoy the beach. Why ruin it? And that's the biggest frustrating part. Why are you contributing to all the negative? If you wanted to be that beautiful place that your parents took you when you were a kid, then allow your kids to be able to take their kids there one day. Mm-hmm. Stop polluting it. Stop dumping all your crap.
And see, that exactly, I agree 100% with you. I grew up on the river. I live in Titusville. I grew up there. And I remember, 15, 20 years ago, everyone in high school going down to the river on the weekends, riding jet skis and going out to the Spole Islands and hanging out and camping. And I want that for my son. That water quality might not be there enough to where he can even get in that water at that point.
No, I mean, think about how much it's changed. I'm 40. Mm-hmm. I've been in Brevard County my whole life. I was born at Holmes Regional Medical Center. One of the few.
Local yokel.
I was born at a parish hospital in Titusville. It's not even there anymore.
Oh my god!
I mean, they have a new one, but I was born at the old one.
Well, they had to get rid of the old one because,
Well, I mean, once I was born, there's no need to
Yeah.
have any more babies.
It's like
they
our
were,
job
they were
is
like,
done.
we can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
We need a better place. This is you were the poster child for why they need a new
That's why I'm
hospital.
an only child.
You know?
Parents hit it right the first time. No need to have more.
Yeah, that's what
You're
it
talking
was.
about the water quality in Titusville. I mean, my grandparents lived in Scottsmore forever. My mom and dad both went to high school up there, so I grew up fishing up there. And I remember going up there. It didn't take much to throw a shrimp or something out and bring back a big size red. And now you're lucky if you catch anything. You're lucky if you can even see into the water sometimes.
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about it with Virginia Barker, and Virginia, who works with the county. She's part of the programs that are trying to renovate and restore the Indian River Lagoon. The difference between when I was a kid and now, I mean, there's a layer of muck. I mean, there's non-survivable muck for even small organisms that we have to get rid of. And part of that rejuvenation process is obeying the ordinance for, not using fertilizers or utilize them at the proper times. Don't use them during the rainy seasons.
Police your clippings and all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, I think too. Yeah, I think people don't realize that even if you're not hooked up to a city septic or city sewer, your stuff's still getting in the water somehow. It's still leaking its way in. We live on a feeder canal for the Tillman, so we're on septic. So I try to explain to my kids, and they understand the stuff that we put outside is going to work its way into that canal, which is going to work its way into the Tillman, which is going to work its way into the St. John's, which works it, whatever. It's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, it's just like Finding Nemo. All drains lead to the ocean.
That's really good.
You know what? That should be your new motto, because everybody at home went out and was like, yes.
Yeah.
I watched Finding Nemo 750 times with my kid just last week. That makes sense to me. But that's one of those pitches that clicks. Give us a few things that, say, a top 5 of what people can do just at home, just in their everyday life, to change a behavior change, what they should focus on.
Well, again, first off, stop using fertilizer. There are native plants that look just as great. They're green. You don't have to have that St. Augustine lawn. If you do, just reduce your fertilizers or use an organic form. Get your clippings out of the streets. They're going to end up right there, and that's what helps contribute to the muck a little bit. Recycle the right way. Get rid of contamination. As we mentioned, the numbers are getting more acceptable, but make sure you're rinsing your materials right and putting them in the right bins, and don't put your stuff in plastic bags and then put that into the recycling bin. That's a number one thing, because people that work out at the recycling facilities, they're not going to sit there and rip open the bag to dump the good stuff out. They're going to take that whole bag and throw it away, and all of your efforts for nothing, and you're not recycling. Actually contributes more to the problem for the recyclers.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. Because I mean, I don't do that. I just walk it and throw it right in the can. But I do know a lot of people who throw everything into a plastic bag.
So
and walk it out.
I think a lot of people have 2 trash cans.
Yep.
So we're talking about trying to reduce laziness on it. You've got 2 trash cans, one for regular trash and one for recycling. But then when that recycling one fills up, they just take the garbage bag, tie it up, throw it in the recycling bin. And I didn't know this until you just said it. So that means that whole bag is probably useless, right?
Absolutely, because when they're sorting all that stuff, you got the guys that are going through the conveyor belt. Plastic bags, they get up in the gears, and they will actually I've been there on tours several times where something will get tangled up in the gears, and it will shut the entire facility down for hours sometimes, just for them to clean all that out. So make sure that you're not putting any kind of tanglers, no cords, no wires, anything like that. Dog leashes, that's what junked it up one time when I was there. And definitely no plastic bags. All that stuff contributes to what we're not trying to do. So if you're rinsing your recyclables the right way, you shouldn't have to have a bag liner in your can, because nothing's going to leak if you're doing it the right way. So and then stop littering. If you see something that's blowing around, grab it, just throw it in a trash can or throw it in a recycle bin. When I'm walking through a parking lot, I'll see 2 or 3 things. I'll pick them up and throw them in the shopping cart next to me, and then give them to the trash can. So it doesn't, just because it's not your litter doesn't mean it's not your problem.
No, bam, right there.
Yeah.
That's it. I'll ask this question. I don't know. I'll just throw it out there. We have a lot of companies in the area that talk about, we'll keep your grass green.
Mm-hmm.
Do they abide by the ordinance aspect of it?
To be honest, I don't know. I don't want to say someone does or doesn't not without knowing. But I know that there are ordinances that they should be going with. I know our company, Keeper of Our Beautiful, we certify lawn companies to become more, I guess, conscientious of everything that's going on. And a lot of our homeowners associations that are getting certified for lagoon-friendly lawn are requiring that they use lawn companies that are certified through us.
You're talking about the mowers, the edgers,
just
the guys that are actually cutting the grass, or the guys who are doing the lawn maintenance as far as, come out and spray it for bugs and spray it for fertilizer and make your grass greener.
A lot of time there's some companies that'll do a little bit of both. So
Right.
those are the ones that we really focus on. And all lawn companies, how many times do you see it? You're going down the road and you got them just blowing everything off of into the street.
Right.
That's one of the number one things we try to prevent, because all that stuff definitely winds up right back in the river.
All right, people, you're listening. You just heard what he said. If you have one of those companies, ask them, are you being,
Lagoon friendly?
Lagoon friendly.
Mm-hmm.
Are you being lagoon friendly? Ask them if you have somebody that comes out and sprays your yard and makes it all beautiful and green. Ask them, are you using organic fertilizers? If not, is there a way I can switch to organic fertilizers? Ask the questions. Don't just be focused on the aesthetic aspect of my beautiful green lawn, because that beautiful green lawn could be the next chemicals that wash off and cause the next algae bloom.
Yep.
So just ask the questions. Don't be afraid to ask them. If you got a lawn service, ask them, hey, how are you disposing of this or whatever? Or don't just blow it out into the street so that it washes away. Do whatever you got to do.
And all they have to do is call KBB and they'll get the steps
we'll
to get certified.
We'll help them all along the way. There's not a cost to it. We actually work with IFAS, and they help educate the companies, and it's a good thing. And also look at native landscaping. There's a lot of Florida plants that are just beautiful.
Okay, you're gonna have to.
You're talking to Steve.
I didn't do much gardening. What would be native plants?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I'm not that much of a gardener myself. I did a raised bed once, and I killed it with a passion. So I got one cucumber. It was about the size of a pickle. So, there's more information on our website, but there are tons of native plants just all around that are, the UFIFAS office would be more than happy. There's a lot of master gardeners and gardening clubs that would be more than happy to probably help you figure out what would work best for your lawn. And then if you have questions, call Keeper of Our Beautiful. We have a coordinator that deals with lagoon-friendly lawns. She'll come out there, explain how to do it better or whatnot, and get you the answers you need.
Excellent. No, that's what I want to get the word out there. Is me and Chris have both learned something today. We try to do what we can to keep the environment protected. I know Chris is big down there at Turkey Creek. He likes that whole walk down there. Mm-hmm. I've grown up on the ocean. I've been surfing since I was 15. I definitely don't want to see sea turtles with straws in their nose. Yeah. And I got to tell you, the big thing that drives me crazy is you walk down the beach, and in the morning I'll see there's a couple of groups that come out towards Patrick Air Force Base, and they'll walk it, and how much glass they pick up. Mm-hmm. That drives me crazy. Like if you're having a beer on the beach or whatever, bring in a can, or do something that if somebody does leave it behind, some kid doesn't step on it and it cracks and break and cuts their foot open, because it is a family environment. Now, a question, not sure how if you know much about it. We have a couple of dog beaches now. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I've been to quite a few, and it seems like the people are keeping them up, like they're being taken care of. Like I'm not seeing lots of debris left behind, and it seems that it's been working pretty well so far.
And that's the big thing. It's all about the responsibility of the people that are involved. Same with any beachgoer. They need to take responsibility for their garbage. Dog beaches, same thing. Take responsibility for your dog's debris. And
that was very
very
well put.
Yeah, thank you. Just take responsibility for that, and it shouldn't be a problem. I know I know people that own dogs really enjoy taking their dogs with them. There's no reason they shouldn't be able to enjoy the beach as well.
But I think it's like it goes back to, you're asking why people want to destroy things that they like. Well, because they know they're going to be there. But the dog owners know, hey, look, if we don't take care of this yard or don't take care of the beach after the dog does its business, they're going to get rid of the ordinance and they're going to move the dogs away.
Exactly.
Yeah. No, absolutely. All right, we'll be right back after break.
Well, there's the X. I guess I'll sign right here.
Stop! Did you even read it?
No, I usually don't.
How many pages is that?
Like 20?
You could be giving away your firstborn son in that contract.
It's a pretty good point. I don't want to do that.
Or that's a lease, right? You could be giving your landlord rights to have their Fat Uncle Joe come and use your coffee maker whenever they want.
Uncle Joe's fine, but not Fat Uncle Joe.
Yeah, not that one.
Well, this is a lot of legal information. I don't really know it. Who could I go for this?
Well, that's exactly why we have Blake Stewart at Stewart Law. He specializes in business, contracts, and construction law, and he has negotiated low prices for contract reviews, just for cases like this. Check him out on Facebook, Stewart Law CS.
Or on the web at stewartlawcs.com.
Or give me a call at 321-541-6845. A lot of people want to know what the paper clinic is. And honestly, the paper clinic is a lot of things. It's a collaborative space where you can come and bounce ideas off other professionals. You can get advice from professionals in the field. You can get legal advice, insurance advice, and you can be the expert. You can advise people as to things that you know about. But the paper clinic's a lot more than that. When the paper clinic works together, it becomes a one-stop shop for anybody who wants to start a business. You can walk right in one door of the paper clinic and you can get your business formed, you can get your business insured, you can get a tax plan, you can get marketing, and you can walk right out the other side of the paper clinic with a turnkey business. The Paper Clinic, big firm resources for the small business. Check us out on the web, thepaperclinic.com, or on Facebook at The Paper Clinic.
And we are back. Like I said, I wanted to thank Bryan for coming out. Just a few things. Bryan's going to give you guys the plug. Listen to what he's got to say. Help out. Do what you can. If you have time to volunteer, Keeper of Our Beautiful is always looking for volunteers. If that whole smoking on the beach ordinance is something that you're interested in, please go do the research. It's out there for you guys. That's why it's an ordinance. What we vote on is what we look at. Bryan.
Yes.
Keeper of Our Beautiful. Plug it. Let everybody know what they can do, where they can do it, how they can help. Any events coming up, throw it out there.
Well, the first thing, definitely like us on Facebook. That's where a lot of our information gets out. Second, start looking at our website, keeperofourbeautiful.org. Right now, if you go up there, we have resources for recycling, information on all the programs that we have, because we have tons of programs that we operate, and then also just basic tips on how to be more sustainable. The first thing you're going to see on our website right now is an ad for our golf tournament, which is going to be coming up on February 22nd. It's going to be at the Cocoa Beach Country Club. We're still looking for golfers. We're looking for sponsors. If either one of those would appeal to you or your listeners, we'd love to have them. It's a good day, and we feed you. You get a round of golf, and then we got some pretty cool prizes coming out from some of our sponsors too. We're going to be doing 50-50 and raffles, and it's a lot of fun. So,
well, Jesse's already given the thumbs up. He's got his Titleist hat on right now.
Yes.
So I mean, he's ready to go. He doesn't even care. He's getting ready to walk out of the studio. He doesn't even care anymore. Oh, look, he's moving. He's moving in.
He's gotta get in there.
So what else? What would you final statements to the public?
Well, hopefully not my final statement.
Well, not your final statement today, my
friend. Do I have to get taken out back and shot after this?
Well,
but there's a lot of football on, so
yeah. Let's wrap this up. Be conscientious of your environment and all your surroundings, and just kind of get involved. It takes a community. There's a difference between being a resident and being a member of the community, and that's what we encourage people to do. Come out, volunteer with us. We have tons of programs, events. Join us for some fun, and look out for the summer series this year. It's going to be in its, I believe, 5th year, and at the end of that, we'll be giving away Disney tickets if you attend all 5 events.
Cool.
It's a raffle, so and not everybody, but we'll be giving away a 4-pack of Disney tickets. So it's a lot of fun. There's kayak cleanups and surfing ones, everything else like that. We'll have fun.
Kayak cleanups. I have a kayak. You want to go on I have my 2-man kayak. You
We're
want to
doing
go
one at Turkey Creek.
Yeah, man.
Done.
Yeah.
Look at this. Me and
Man.
Chris are going to be in a kayak together, and we will be live on a kayak. Actually, I don't know if we'll be live on the kayak because there's probably going to be some curse
You know
words
there's
dropped.
alligators in Turkey Creek.
Yes. It's okay.
So
It's
Steve
okay.
Steve gets this paddleboard, stand-up paddleboard a couple months ago.
Mhm.
And he texts me, he goes, "Hey, do you think there's alligators in Turkey Creek?" And I go, yeah, buddy, there's alligators in Turkey Creek. He
Big
goes,
ones.
Guess I won't be paddleboarding there. And I said, just stay on the board. He goes, no, I fall.
Yeah,
a
no, I
lot."
fall a lot.
Look like a baby deer trying to stand up.
Yeah, on ice. Yeah. No, but my kayak, I do have a kayak. It is camouflaged, and we can go do it together.
Nobody
And
will see us if it's camouflage.
It's wear that sweet shirt you're rocking right now, and you'll be our caution
It's
guy.
not Justin Bieber on my shirt.
I do have Justin Bieber on my shirt.
Anyway,
That is Chris Prong are crushing him into the boards. Okay, just so
We're
everybody
getting
knows.
off topic. So I think other people, I don't think people understand too. If I want to just organize, me, Steve, and our family want to go clean up some section of the beach they can contact Keep Brevard Beautiful, and you guys will help with supplies and get them set up, right?
Yeah, we'll give you bags, grabbers, gloves, buckets, everything that you would need to go do a cleanup. And then all we ask is your stats, because we record those throughout the year, so that way we're accountable as well. We just want to know how many people, how much trash you collected, did you recycle, that kind of stuff. And that goes for businesses and companies. If you want to have like a team building day, nothing like getting out there and getting dirty in a community, and that will really bring your group together. So we have a lot of big companies that come to us, and we help organize like a community event for them.
So basically, people don't have to wait for a Keep Brevard Beautiful event. They just want to go clean up.
Yeah.
Contact you guys and
Or they can adopt a certain area of a roadway or a shore or trail, especially this the Rails to Trail program. People can adopt a mile of that trail that they can take responsibility for and clean it up, and same with the shores and roadways.
I'm going to throw it out there. Eric Austin, Seth Kane, Dan Gish, get your churches involved, because I've seen a lot of churches walking down the beaches. Be a great thing to do after you go maybe have church on Sunday, go get some lunch, and then pick a beach and go walk it and do some cleanup. Like I said, anybody who has any questions that knows me, even if I got to go meet with Bryan and pick up some grabbers and some stuff, I'll drop it off. I don't care. Melbourne area, I got you. I know Bryan's in the Titusville area. Chris is in the Palm Bay area. Our big goal is to make sure this community is taken care of. That's why we do the podcast, and we bring different people from different walks of life in here, because we want them to give you information that you may not see every day. Bryan's done a great job being able to contribute to the community. Like I said, Chris and I, we'll go out there. We will kayak together. You will be behind, because I think the person in the back does more rowing, right? Or kayaking.
You are going to be going in circles.
No, we will be. No, I did do a kayak tour with my wife one time, and we just wound up in the trees, and then I flipped us. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So
I'm excited.
You should be excited. Wear some floaties, because we're probably going to flip. But I'll tell you, we live in a great community here in Brevard County. If you're watching this and you're out of state, out of county, get in touch with your local Keep whatever area beautiful.
There's affiliates all over the place.
Yeah, you brought up was it Keep America Beautiful?
Yep. Keep America Beautiful, Keep Florida Beautiful. If you're not from this area, just go to Keep America Beautiful. They can help you locate an affiliate in your area.
Yeah, and parents, if you have kids that need service learning hours, I'm sure you can.
We sign off on community service hours for Bright Futures and court ordered, but they don't get to do the fun stuff.
Yeah. But he brings up the Bright Futures aspect of it. There's a lot of kids that are looking for their hours for their service learning hours. Get out there and pick up a beach. I mean, how much easier can it be? You get to walk down. We'll give you the grabbers. We'll give you the buckets. You just walk around and pick it all up, and just get Bryan the numbers, and he'll sign off on your form. That's great.
We also sponsor Eagle Scouts. If I know every Eagle Scout has to have a program. We usually have a couple things that need to get done, and we work closely with the Scouts. If anyone has a project that they need to do, contact us. We'll give you a couple ideas, see if it works.
Awesome. Chris, do you have any final words today?
I do not.
That was it. That was your final words. Like I said, just to end it all off today, we thank everybody for tuning in. Obviously, you can find us on spacecoastpodcast.com. You can listen there. You can find us at blackdogconfessional.com. Make sure you please follow us on Facebook, on Instagram. We're constantly posting updates. when next shows are, who our guests are going to be. We have a couple people coming up that are going to be really awesome. I just lined up another person for March. I mean, we're booking people that you guys are going to want to listen to. They have a lot to say. If you missed previous episodes, please go to our YouTube channel and just look at Black Dog Confessional in the search, and you'll come up with all of our shows. I believe this is podcast number 6. So, we're moving right along. We do our 2 a month, and we're trying to keep bringing in leaders in this community that maybe you haven't met yet, maybe you haven't seen yet, and Bryan Bobbitt's one of those guys who's constantly working behind the scenes, and over the last year, you're really starting to see his face pop out there. Big stuff coming from him with the 4 under 40, which is huge. If you guys don't know what that is, look it up. It's a Lee Brevard thing. If you're a company and you're interested in getting some leadership training, network training for somebody in your business, Lee Brevard is a great organization.
Outstanding.
Like I said, Bryan and I have started our relationship there, and that was a couple of years ago, and it's progressed to being able to do things like this and being able to have this open line of communication. We always thank Jesse with Space Coast Podcast for sitting with us on a Sunday afternoon. And, if you guys are interested in sponsoring us, Space Coast Podcast, let us know. We'll get it hooked up. This is what we're doing for the community. This is our voice, but it's also your voice. If you want to pitch in, ask us questions, bring up topics that you want us to discuss, send me a DM, and we'll get it. We'll get somebody on here over the next few months that can refer to that. I'm also going to be doing little side bits on days where we don't have content coming out. I just posted one from the Yoga Garden. That was a direct relation to a conversation we had during our second podcast with Josh Vandegrift, where after the episode was done, he talked to me about how part of dealing with his PTSD, he'd been doing yoga as well as acupuncture. And so I went over to the Yoga Garden and met with Courtney and Loren, and it was very interesting because Courtney was a 4-tour combat veteran, and she uses yoga to deal with her PTSD, and she talks about how it saved her life. So if you guys want to watch that video, it's also up on our YouTube. Like I said, thank you all for listening. Please hit us up. Please comment. Please follow us, and continue to show your support, and we thank you all very much. And with that, Redbird.
Thank you.
Bryan.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me out here. It was fun.
No problem. Thank
Good
you
luck
for coming,
in February, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We will see you all in a few weeks.